You're tuned into the VSX Digital Sports Network. You're listening to the boss of the big ball, JBTHETICKET, giving you that grease.
That's right, Las Vegas and all my sports bettors around the world. You're rocking with the boss of the big board, JB the Ticket. VSX NFL Sunday Week 6. If you've been making the picks the way you need to, you're going to get paid this week. If you've been picking losers, you definitely are not going to get the money. But with me this afternoon, we're bringing him back. Everybody loves him. He's been putting cash in your pocket each and every week. Scott Webb from East Coast Sports Investors. Follow him on Twitter at Webby Sports Inc. How you doing, Scotty?
Man, I'm doing great today, brother. How you doing?
We're doing really good, man, over here at the VSX Studios. Again, you can check us out. Follow me on Instagram at JBTHETICKET. Follow the show on Twitter at WeBeatTheLine. The NFL, it's been going, but we want to talk about it a little bit. This coronavirus has been going around the NFL. It's been scaring everybody. Everybody's like wondering what the hell's going on. And I've been telling folks, it's a cleanliness factor, okay? As a reality, each and every play is started taking the ball and hiking it between his butt. So, again, cleanliness could be a factor, but do you think this is going to be a situation where this season has to get extended going through the fall and winter months? Because I saw today online, shout out to the NBA, the Los Angeles Lakers, you guys were able to get that paper championship again. Congratulations for that. Glad you were able to do it. But Karl Anthony Towns, guy up in Minnesota, said the first snow of the season. Do you think this is going to be an issue going forward in cutting games, extending the season? You know, like if a team is out of playoff contention, do you think NFL will end the season for them early? Go ahead.
Well, I think that right now when you look at the games that were canceled, you got the Jets, Chargers, and you got the Dolphins and the Broncos, and then you don't know if the Broncos are going to be able to play the Patriots this week. You've got all kinds of chaos that happens, and what they've been doing in the NFL so far is they've been looking for bye weeks down the lines, and then they fill those holes. Put one team in somewhere, and then they move another game around. It takes like 8 different swaps to get one game settled. The problem with that's going to be is they're running out of time, and bye weeks are starting to get eliminated. That would make the most common sense, and then we'll have to see what cold weather brings to the coronavirus, because so far it's just been, warm weather, and we'll have to see how that goes, because supposedly cold weather makes it worse.
That's what I'm talking about. Again, you're listening to Scotty Webb. Beam him up, Scotty, from East Coast Sports Investors. Follow him on Twitter at Webby Sports Inc. And you're rocking with the boss of the big board, JB the Ticket, here on VSX, talking about the NFL and the coronavirus that has been ravaging the league. Something you mentioned earlier in your comments. They're running out of bye weeks. Superstars have already caught it. Cam Newton, other coaches, even in college football, something we haven't really touched on this season in VSX because of the coronavirus and the way that those conferences are shaping out. Going back to this NFL, do you think that after week 6, which this is the end of the quote-unquote preseason of this regular season NFL for 2020 under COVID, do you think that these teams are going to have to either cut it short for players and teams that aren't in playoff contention, or extend the season and try to make wild card games and things like that? Because they've already canceled the Pro Bowl. And that's something that a lot of people were saying, like, look, man, they canceled the Pro Bowl. I'm like, look, nobody watches it anyway, but go ahead.
I don't think competitive play will allow them to shorten seasons for certain teams, especially if you have to say, you've got the Ravens and they're going to make the playoffs, and then they're going to play, later on in the season, and you've already shut down, and then you've got a forfeit situation for the Ravens. I think that competitively those games take energy and they take tolls on people. And, every week you have to go through the injury report. And when you go through the injury report, you have to find out who's able to play, and then what are their backups like if they're not going to be able to play. And then if you shut down teams that, aren't in the playoffs or not going to make the playoffs, then that puts a competitive advantage to the team that's going to make the playoffs. So my thought would be is that they can't do that. Have that situation arise, they're going to have to figure out a different solution to that, because ultimately, Major League Baseball went through this whole season, and one of the things that they were trying to do was make sure that they had a competitive field of play, and I think for the most part they were able to do that. And I think there's only 2 teams that didn't make 60 games, and in this particular case, we're talking about 16 games in 17 weeks. But they can make it 18 or 19 weeks if they want to. that would be the way to fix that problem, and then also allow the players be competitive and the teams to have no disadvantages against the other one.
There you go. You heard it here. Follow him on Twitter. Scott Webb, beam him up, Scotty, over at East Coast Sports Investors, on Twitter at Webby Sports Inc. And with that being said, let's jump into this NFL action this week. There's only one game that I'm interested in. It's between the two old gunslingers. Rotation number for the Green Bay Packers, 271, going down to Tampa Bay. Rotation number 272. Green Bay -1 on the road, Tampa Bay +1. And you're looking at this as a game that opened at 2.5. It's down to -1. Green Bay 4-0. Tampa Bay 3-2. Who do you give the edge here to? I'm looking at a Green Bay team that is winning across the board. 4-0, 4-0 against the spread, 4-0 on the money line. That's what's going to get you paid. Right now, 69% of the bettors are going that way. However, Tom Brady has been playing spoiler over the last 2.5 weeks, bringing out that win last week in the cover and the even cover versus the LA Chargers, if you will. So with that being said, do you think Tom Brady can continue to grow into his role as the leader of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? And let's not forget, they've got a good coach in Bruce Arians. Go ahead.
Well, this game is really a conundrum, if you want to call it that, because you have the number one offense in the Green Bay Packers, and they're playing like the number 2 defense in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think when we start talking about the Bucs, the very first question you have to ask is, can you move Tom Brady off his spot? That answer to the question is yes, Green Bay can do that. They are number 5 in adjusted sack rate. So when it comes to being able to get him off his spots and hit him and move him around, I think you saw that with Chicago, he had his issues. So I think you're going to see the same thing here. I like the idea that they're playing at home. You know, you get the warmer weather, you get the humidity down here, where Green Bay doesn't really get that often. So you have a different edge with the weather. But I think that the defense moving him off of his spot is going to be a big edge for Green Bay. And then the second part of that same question is, how good is Tom Brady anymore? Well, the reality is you win football games based on throwing the ball in the quarterback. And the number one quarterback right now with EPA per play and CPOE, which your completion percentage over expected, is Aaron Rodgers. He's number 1. And then when you look at where does Tom Brady fall into that? He falls down to number 21. That's below 16, which would be the middle mark. So he's a below average quarterback. And then you start to look at it from a perspective of offense. For them, they dink and dunk the ball. You know, his average pass only goes like 6 yards per attempt. So he's going to be throwing very short passes. He's going to have to throw a lot of completions to make that happen. And Aaron Rodgers is getting his big weapon back. You're going to see Adams on the field for Green Bay, and I think that makes a huge difference for this game. And I wouldn't put the points in play here. I think Green Bay on the money line is the better way to go.
Go ahead and take Green Bay on the money line. You heard it here. Again, want to thank him for stopping by. My main man, Scotty Webb, over at East Coast Sports Investors. Be sure to check him out over at East Coast Sports Investors so you can get those winning plays and watch the game on FUBOTV. Get 7 days from me absolutely free at VegasScoreboardExpress.com. It's time to grab that bankroll, hit the window, get over there into the NFL. Get that money.
You're listening to the boss of the big ball, JBTHETICKET. You're tuned into the VSX Digital Sports Network. Vegas Scoreboard. Giving you that grease.
This football season, stay in the game with FUBOTV. Over 100 live channels, including NFL Network, NBA TV, and FS1. Don't miss any of the action. Get 7 days free on us at VegasScoreboardExpress.com. Don't get cabled, get FUBOTV.